Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy, back with another live stream. It's been so long ever since we came live, and finally, here we are. I'm live. We're gonna speak about so many things in this video. I want us to speak about Arsenal's transfers, basically, and why are we doing transfers so late? Because in the first half of the transfer window, we've literally done nothing. We have not moved on players. We have not signed in new players. We have literally done nothing. We've been linked with loads and loads of players. And looks like we're all going to do our transfers late in the transfer window, actually close to the new season. But we shall also look at some of the players that have been linked with Arsenal today. We've been linked with new defenders. We've been linked with new midfielders. I'll speak about the Yves Bissouma deal. I know many people want me to talk about that, so we'll speak about the Bissouma deal in a little bit of detail. I'll answer some of your questions. So if you have a question, please make sure you leave it in the comments in the comment section, because I'm going to answer your questions live. So I'll be able to try to dive into some of your questions, especially around transfers. Let us just keep it transfers, because there's so much to speak around Arsenal and around transfers. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well. It really means a lot. And obviously, never forget to follow One Expert. They bring you all the best odds and all the best, the biggest bonuses and gifts. So make sure you use my promo code Cossy Media. You'll be able to win so many more. So we're gonna dive into it. And the big question in this video that I'll try to get into is, why have clubs like Liverpool signed players like Konate? United is close to signing Jadon Sancho. And we've seen clubs like Barcelona, clubs like PSG make transfers happen. We've seen the likes of Gigi Wijnaldum move to PSG. We've seen the likes of Memphis Depay very close to Barcelona. The likes of Sergio Aguero moving to Barcelona. We've seen Manchester, like I said, United are very close to signing Jadon Sancho. At least many big clubs and small clubs are making transfers happen. And we lost Emi Buendia to Aston Villa, so Villa have made a signing of Emi Buendia. I'm asking myself, why aren't we making transfers? Why isn't there any progress? Probably we should dive into that and try to understand, is it the money? Is it our transfer negotiation again? What is the big problem? So we're gonna be diving into that. Today we've been linked with a couple of players, and I think I've dropped a couple of videos. The first one being Yves Bissouma, and of course 90 Min did say that Bissouma, Arsenal will finally come up with an offer in this summer. Because they are really in need of a midfield. And of course, I do trust 90 Min. I love their blogs. I love their websites. I love their YouTube channel. And I love all their work. They're a little bit credible. But, what they speak about Bissouma and Arsenal is a little bit vague, should I say, because we've gone through all the stages of Arsenal and Bissouma, the player, the agent, and the standpoint of Arsenal. But today they have said that Arsenal will actually go in for Yves Bissouma. That we shall go in with with a solidified offer. However much Leicester City and Leicester City and Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool are all interested in signing Yves Bissouma. And when I was doing that video, I said, I don't believe Leicester is interested. I mean, I love 90 Min and I believe in them, but I don't think there is genuine interest from Leicester City into Yves Bissouma. Probably it's 5 or 6 weeks ago. Before they signed Boubakary Soumare. But at the moment, I think it is Liverpool and Arsenal. Those are the two clubs that are more interested in signing Yves Bissouma. And I think the reason as to why Liverpool want him, the only reason I think they want him is Jadon Henderson is getting older, and the only reason, of course, Arsenal want him is because we need a CDM or at least a CM. I don't know which one in your case. you think is the priority? Is it a CDM? Is it a CM? In my opinion, I think Arsenal need a central midfielder. You could have Thomas Partey play that CDM role well, but the problem is, do you get that kind of person who plays that central midfield role? And Bissouma can give you that. But I think a player like Housem Awa, a player like Senderbaj would give you something better. So 90 Min are saying today Arsenal will actually make a firm offer for Yevis Bissouma later in the summer to see that we sign the player. But we don't have lots and lots of time. That's the problem. Like I said, Liverpool is interested. More clubs are going to be interested. This guy is a transfer bargain of one of the transfer bargains of the summer. Of course, I believe we have transfer bargains in the summer, like Marshall Sabitzer. I think Sabitzer is going to be a bargain in this summer. But Bissouma is a bargain. £30 million. That is so low, very, very low. Of course, with all due respect, you might have Arsenal looking at other players, like Romano says, he might not be on top of our list. He might not be that kind of priority that Arsenal looking for, and that's why at times I believe Bissouma could not move to Arsenal, and it wouldn't hurt us anyway because he was never at the helm. He was never at the top of our priority list of targets. It's not like Emi Buendia, because for Buendia, what happened is Arsenal failed or refused, because according to Chris Whitley, we refused to meet the valuation of Norwich, and we refused to meet the bid that Aston Villa actually tabled, which was around £33 million. But honestly, I think it was all about the sell-on clause. I don't see how they would become any better. I don't believe the gap, that £3 million gap is the difference. I think it was the sell-on clause, because Norwich looked at it in this way, that if we sell Buendia at this point in time, in the next 3 years, next 4 years, he's 25 years of age. In the next 6 years, he's retiring. But between 25 and 30, a player could make a big money move. Probably you have Buendia in the next 2 or 3 years, move from Aston Villa to Manchester City for £70 million. They're gonna get 10% of the money, so they'll get 7 million. Easy money, and of course it was already clear they were never gonna sell him for 40 million euros. They're never gonna sell him for the £50 million that everybody was thinking about. They had agreed, they had come to consensus within the camp that Buendia was gonna move for a figure that was starting with a 3, which is around 33 or 35 million pounds. And finally, Arsenal lost the signing. So anyway, with the Yves Bissouma deal, and not many of you like Bissouma, and many of you want Bissouma, and I don't want to go into the opportunity of disagreement, because we always do disagree as Arsenal fans. I don't want to go I don't want us to go into that. What is up with Bissouma is Arsenal have a priority, which I believe, I don't know why I believe in deep down in my head that player is Sunderbaj. And it's totally crazy, because we have already offered around 23 million euros, and the bid was rejected. The offer was rejected by Sheffield United, who are believed to want at least 35 million pounds for the player. So I think the priority Arsenal is looking at is Sunderbaj. If our hopes to get Sunderbaj are cut down slowly by slowly, probably in the near future, Arsenal will decide to go for Yevis Bissouma. I expect an offer. I don't know what Brighton are thinking about, because they have said they're free with any of their players leaving, because it won't be the first time. And of course, they do expect one of their players to leave, and I think they expect Bissouma. But we have also been linked with a couple of other players from Brighton. And that reminds me of Ben White. We've been linked with Ben White, and as per the Athletic and David Ornstein, the Athletic are saying Arsenal will try to pay almost 50 million pounds for to get Ben White. And well, look, I know we need a centre back, and it's something. I mean, a centre back is someone I've been looking at, in the past 3 or 4 days when I was sick, and I was looking at all these transfer rumors, the likes of Jules Koundé, and we've been looked with the likes of Ben White, and the Athletic said Arsenal are preparing an offer for Brighton defender Ben White, and that offer could be around 40 to 50 million pounds as per David Ornstein. And I was like, fine, good, fine. But I don't think Arsenal is gonna sign a defender that is 50 million pounds. Honestly, let us be very clear. I mean, Arteta would want to have a centre back that is, quite formidable. Yeah. But I don't see Arsenal, sign a defender who's around 50 million pounds. You remember we were linked with Edmund Tapsoba, and what Bayer Leverkusen said is we want 60 million euros for the player. And Arsenal backed off. Ben White is strong. He's young. He has he has a great future as a player. He's English. He has all the qualities you would want in that central defender. But the price tag, Arsenal paying 50 million pounds for a defender, is just horrendous. It's just out of the picture. I don't see that happen. But we've been linked with Ben White as well, and I wanted to share my thoughts about Ben White. I think I've spoken about him. I don't see that happen. Now, according to Eduardo Hagen, one of those people that I really do follow around a lot on Twitter, he said Arsenal are ready to offer 40 million euros for Manuel Locatelli. However, the player's preference is Juventus. Sao Paulo president has been informed of the interest from abroad, according to Gazzetta dello Sport. Now, Manuel Locatelli, another player that has been linked highly with Arsenal, and of course with Manchester United and a couple of other clubs like Chelsea, playing with Italy in the Euros. So if you want to watch Locatelli, you could actually go out there and see him. I think we have also been linked with another lad from Italy, and his name is called Rodrigo Di Paul from Udinese. So you can see, and I've said this before, that whenever club is linked with with players from a certain position, you've got to think about it. You've got to understand it. It's always because the pundits see a vacancy in that area. I think that's the reason as to why Arsenal has been linked with so many midfielders. But I think Locatelli is a good player. I don't see Arsenal go out in Italy and sign Locatelli from Sassuolo. I think Juventus could take him because they generally collect all the talent from Italy. But I still believe deep down in my heart, Arsenal will get a number 10 and Arsenal will get a box-to-box midfielder. That's not going to change. We shall either get a CM or a CDM, but I don't see Locatelli signing for Arsenal. I also don't see Arsenal going to sign Rodrigo Di Paul, however much we are interested. Today we have had links of Nabil Fekir, another player that is always linked with Arsenal. Is Nabil Fekir, and again he's been linked with Arsenal. He's had an exciting season at Real Betis. I think what Arsenal is looking for is a skill set better than Thomas Partey, and I think he's better than Thomas Partey, honestly. In terms of his skill set, in terms of what he provides, in terms of what he offers, he would be better than Partey, and he would be very good to play with Thomas Partey, because what he gives you as Nabil Fekir is that player who navigates going forward and creating lots of trouble. For the opposition, running at defenses, running at midfields. Fekir is that kind of player. He would give Partey a lot of time to settle in, and he would actually make him that kind of number 6 that many people envision Thomas Partey as. But at the end of the day, we still have to wait, because for Arsenal, like I said, till this moment, nothing has happened. We have not signed any players, and that is what I want to speak about in this video. Are we going to make late transfers? Okay, we are going to make late transfers because honestly, at this point in time, a club that finished 8th, if you've not made at least one transfer, done deal at the moment, then it's clearly late. And my problem is, why do we keep making late transfers? What is so wrong with Arsenal? So that's what we're going to speak about in this video. Make sure you check out One Expert. Link is in the video description. Smash a like on the video and do subscribe to the channel as well. So let's get into it. We had a very horrible season. Very, very, very horrible. Finished 8th. It was one of our worst seasons. If you're an Arsenal fan out there, and I've had so many people in my inbox asking me, Cossy, what's the problem? Is it Edu? Is it Mikel Arteta? Is it Kroenke? Is it the money? It's a big question. But to dive into the problem, I think this is how our transfers have been, by the way. It's not something new. I mean, it's not new that Arsenal have always made their transfer business late. It's not new that we have always not gone in for the early signings. My question and my concern in this window is, why are we making our signings very late, yet we had one of the worst seasons? I mean, why haven't we responded? Why aren't we responding to one of the worst seasons a club could ever have, a club like Arsenal could ever have? And that's what I want to speak about, because that is what is on my mind. That is what I want to speak about. So we've been linked with a couple of players, and we are one of the clubs that have our transfer priorities well outlined, from the goalkeeping situation, which has actually been made a priority, and I thought it wouldn't be a priority, to a right back position, which is a priority, to a backup left back, which is a priority, to a centre back, which is a priority that has been also made a priority, and I thought it was never a priority in the first place, to the midfield. Last summer, when we went into the transfer window, we had to sign in midfielders. Our midfield was empty, and we have gone back to the same situation. We have one midfielder by this summer, and that's Thomas Partey. We don't have midfielders. The likes of Sebastian, of Odegaard have gone back, and it's clear. It's so clear that our transfer priorities are really, well spelled in black and white. My question is, why haven't we actually made any steps towards making our season better? That is the question. Why have we stalled? Why have we taken so long? Is it the Euros? Is it the money? Do we honestly have to sell to buy? What is the problem? I think that is where I will need to get in your opinions. Why do you think Arsenal has actually taken so long, at least to make a signing, ever since the season actually ended? Because Liverpool, and I always use the example, Liverpool, Leicester City, wherever you want. Leicester have signed in Somare. I don't know whether he was a priority target, but they have signed Somare from Lille. And they are also close to signing Oden Edouard. And eventually, Liverpool have signed Konate, and you've seen the defensive problems they've had almost in the whole season. They've needed that defender. They have struggled because of the defensive injuries that actually hit them mid-season, and straight at the end of the season, they signed in Konate. So you expected us, at least we had made the right steps to sign in Emi Buendia. We were on the right track. I thought Arsenal going for Emi Buendia, that was the best move we could ever make as a club, because our problems have been creativity. Right from last August, when the season started, our problems were creativity. We were not creating enough, and everybody could see Arsenal needed to sign in creative midfielders. We brought in Martin Odegaard in January. Things really tried to work out, and then Madrid took him back. We've been linked with Emi Buendia, and I was like, okay, this is the right move. This is this is the real Arsenal. You're trying to sign in Emi Buendia because you have had a dreadful season, because you have had a bad season. Eventually, what is happening is you lose Emi Buendia to Aston Villa. Now that is more kind of like Arsenal's transfer deja vu's. It's the same thing that happened to Houssem Aouar, just as Houssem Aouar remain at Lyon. But how do you lose that deal to Aston Villa, yet you're desperate? Because Villa are not desperate, at the moment. Yeah, they're afraid they might lose Jack Grealish to Manchester City, or whoever is afraid, is interested in Grealish. So they're afraid of that, but they're not desperate. They have had a good season. They have had a very good season. They have a lot of talented players that could actually move with them, at least for the next, season. But Arsenal doesn't have that. You don't have midfielders. So how do you lose a transfer battle to Aston Villa? But again, it goes back to the question: why are we planning? Why are we prolonging our transfer summer? Yet we have to do a lot of business. Of course, we've been linked with a couple of departures from Granit Xhaka to Matteo Guendouzi. And I do appreciate that, because I think we are making efforts to move on some players so that we bring in others. But the transfer laziness that we have seen, in the past decade, in the past 10 years, is just, regurgitating itself, giving back to the same kind of laziness, transfer laziness, day in, day out. Eventually, Arsenal will sign two players at in July. By this time in June, we should have a signing. Honestly, whether it's Andre Onana or it is whoever, or it's Maina Solomon, or it's Emi Buendia, because Buendia, I strongly believe Buendia should have been our player. We have done everything right. We were in that position to sign Emi Buendia. He should have been our player. No questions about that. But because we love late signings, because we love to go in late, and it really doesn't make a lot of sense when Arsenal go in fast and sign. What I don't remember the last time we went into transfer window and we did well. I mean, we signed in early, players early, try to socialize them into the system, and then make things happen. We have been told this manager is gonna be backed. And that's what we want to believe, and that's what most of us do want to believe, that the money is going to get back. But first and foremost, if you're backing a manager, give him his players, let him try to plan underway. Of course, they are Euros, and like I said, logically speaking, there could be a problem. Euros could be affecting transfers at the moment, but we're not hearing anything coming out that Arsenal is serious about players A, B, C, D. Look at the Yves Bissouma deal. We've spoken about it. The players come out and told his agent, I want to go to Arsenal. And Arsenal are really in need of such kind of player, but there is nothing really happening. The Emi Buendia deal, still Buendia telling his agents and camp, you know what, I want to go to Arsenal. Arsenal still failing to make this step. It's the same thing that's happening with almost each and every player. It is Arsenal that is failing to make that step. Is it the money? I mean, is Arsenal bankrupt? Well, I do not understand. I don't know, because we are one of those clubs that really have the money, at least to spend on 30, 25 million pound signings. We can do that. Why we want to do our transfers so late? It's a big question that many of us really cannot answer, and I would love anyone just to actually really. Just share with me your thoughts, and of course, please do ask your questions. I'll be responding to them in the chat. Like I said, this is one of the first first videos coming back, so I need the interaction. Cossy, how are you doing, man? Much as we are linked to so many players, I have not had anything like talking about a new coach. I don't think at the moment Arsenal will be looking at a new manager. I don't think it's really gonna take a lot of it's really gonna take a lot of time for Arsenal to change a manager. Probably it could be around December or January next year. I don't see Arsenal change a manager at the moment. Well, I don't see that happen, honestly. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see Arsenal change a manager. That could come in if Mikel Arteta fails eventually, but I don't see that happen very, very soon. But anyway, thank you for thanking me for coming back. Cossy, I'm very, very sorry to hear that what you went through, but with the grace of God, we meet again to this forum. Let the Almighty God give you the strength to continue serving us. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much. I'm getting better. Slowly by slowly. I'll regain my strength. Hi, Cossy, and any news about Ruben Neves to Arsenal? By the way, We've been linked with Ruben Neves as well. I mean, how did I forget this? We've been linked with Ruben Neves as well. And honestly, if I speak about Ruben Neves, there is no news at the moment. All that all that that has come out is that Arsenal are working on a 34 million deal for Ruben Neves. That is all. There is nothing else. And there's been a lot of reactions. I didn't react to that honestly, but I've talked about Donny van der Beek, so I'll speak about Ruben Neves in a minute. I think what you have in Ruben Neves is a player who needs to make that move. And many people who say Ruben Neves shouldn't be playing for Arsenal or shouldn't join Arsenal, and are looking at him as an average player. It doesn't make sense for me. It doesn't make sense. I think Ruben Neves is a good player. Yes, I mean, he might not be Bissouma. He's kind of more of a silent player. But I think what Arsenal is looking for at the moment in that midfield, Ruben Neves has it. Honestly, he has it. Literally, we're looking for someone, to switch play. We're looking for someone who can, pass that ball in that midfield. We're looking for someone who can, distribute the ball, and that is Ruben Neves. I think he's just 23. If you could have him for 5 years in that position, that's gonna do well. So I think there is not much news around Ruben Neves, but I still think Arsenal should do the signing if they can. Flo says you run. Arsenal players are gonna transfer. Oh no! I think we will do the transfers. Honestly, look, the transfers will happen. We will do the transfers. I think there is no question about that. Arsenal will sign in players. Honestly, we will sign in players. When is the question? Why are we gonna sign in players late? That is the question. But we will do the signings. Honestly, thank you so much, Junior. Richard says, "Is it true? Is it true that Coutinho is in Arsenal?" That is, if you've watched my video about us Coutinho at Arsenal training ground, that is a very old video. It was for last summer. At the moment, all I know is all there is to know is that the player is available for as low as 17 million pounds. That is what has been reported, and I don't know how that's gonna even happen. For Christ's sake. But if you've watched me saying that he is available, it is a very old video. You can see the template we are using now, and how that video looks like. It's very, very old. And then Gina says, "Yeah, is that true?" Like I said, it's not a very recent video. Arsenal have no money to sign players. That is ideally not true. I mean, it's ideally not true. We cannot fail to have money, at least to sign in 2 midfielders. So, what you have to know and what we have to understand is Arsenal do have the money to sign at least to sign in 2 players. My problem with Arsenal is we want to do the transfers, late. That's the problem. We want to do the transfers late. That's it. Arsenal have no money to sign in players. Well, I don't think so. Do you think Arsenal have money to sign players? This according to Ivan. Yes. Arsenal do have the money, and we will sign in the players. The only problem is that we are gonna sign in the players late. That is it, and that's the focus of this video. I've talked about how Arsenal will fund their transfer, and I think the Cronkies will not give us a lot of money. I think we shall sell some players, but we shall not get a lot of money. Eventually, we could spend around 80 million, or 85 million pounds, or 90 million pounds. Together in the summer. We might not actually reach the 100 and the 150 million mark that we want to spend as a club, but we will spend the money. We will spend some money. Our dying Arsenal. This is according to Ivan, and the Crown King says Edu and Arteta are deceiving fans. No money available. No, if anyone says anyone at Arsenal is deceiving, I can't say no, because they've been deceiving. Mikel Arteta and Edu have been deceiving us for the past loads and loads of time. So I cannot really say they're not deceiving. But again, there will be some money spent. We have had one of the worst seasons, one of the worst worst season. So there will be some money spent. Honestly, there will be some money spent. I'm very sure about that. Arsenal have money, but they have had policy. They have had policy during transfer. This is according to Okello. And King says, imagine how Arsenal lose when they. I mean, it was not serious. Honestly, it was not serious. It's one of the transfer. It was one of the laziness kind of laziness I cannot tolerate in my life. I'm sick, and then eventually I'm hearing when they have signed for Aston Villa. I was so sick. I was disgusted, really, really disgusted. And I think the problem with Arsenal, that has been the problem, is we act very slow. I mean, we take a lot of time to act. It's always gonna be slow. It's always gonna take time for Arsenal to to decide. And when clubs that are really fast in transfers come in, we can't actually pace with them. We have money, just no ambition. Ben White, 50 million instead of Visuma at 40 million pounds. I don't believe the Ben White story, honestly. I don't believe the Ben White story. Yeah, I know we are looking for a centre back, but I don't think Arsenal will go and sign a 50 million centre back. That's never going to happen. That, at least not in this summer. That could happen probably in the summers to come. But in this one, I don't see us do that. Really, I don't see us do that. Francis says, good evening, the Gunners. The Gunners board maybe doesn't know what they want because they over delay. I don't know why we take so long in our negotiations. That is one of my problems. And then Ivan says, I can't think. So when will Arsenal be like the late season 2004-2005? I mean, I think that takes a lot. Honestly, it takes a lot. All Arsenal fans, all of us, please do smash a like on the video if you love the content. All Arsenal fans want our club to go back to that level where you can spend money, where you can win titles, where you can challenge. But the problem is the way we are doing things. I think we are having what you would call an identity crisis. What Arsenal want to be and what we are very different things. The fans want an Arsenal that wins things and becomes great again. Yeah, that's what we want. What the club is doing at the moment is very, very contrary to that dream. I would prefer Fakil to allow Emil Smith Rowe develop. I think you could use Emil Smith Rowe and Naby Fakil in the same team, honestly. Yeah, you could use both of them in the same team, and nothing happens. So one may not actually affect the other. But you also have a point, Ian. Arsenal is afraid of negotiations. Players are valued at 35 million pounds. We bid 27 million pounds. Another at 20 million pounds will bid at 15. And look, I think one problem Arsenal has, and it's something that we have had, I think the past 5 years is our negotiating power is reducing slowly by slowly. Because the way transfers work, it's either your club is attractive, very attractive, or you have the money. Now we have lost, we do not have the money, and we are no longer attractive. So there is a big problem. Rokani Sport says, I will be back. Thank you, brother. I hope I'll be fine. So we need to see things developing faster. So according to Samuel, thank you so much. And then Okello says, how are you doing, Moses? Ivan says, will Arsenal play any Euro? Will Arsenal play any Euros game? Euros games are typically only for nations, for countries in Europe. So clubs are not taking part. So all we can do is just look at players. Probably look at Sabazza. Look at the likes of Locatelli and a couple of others. Welcome back, Cossy. Thank you so much, Tony. Peterson says, Cossy, sorry for that situation. Hope you are somewhere okay. I'm better now. The Rock, I'm better. How are you doing, CP? my bro. Is there any good number 10 in Europe that Arsenal can still buy? Look, Arsenal has loads and lots of options if we want to sign in number 10s. Honestly, we have you have Hakan Karanoglu. He's there. He's just 27 years of age. He's been playing with Milan, and as far as I understand, he's gonna be a free agent in this summer. So you could get him. Odegaard is there, but I think he's a little bit overpriced, but he's there. You could look at him, but I think one of the best options there is Hakan Karanoglu. Nabil Fekir is a little bit. Um, I mean, I prefer to look at Fekir as a number 8, but you could also look at Nabil Fekir is another player that is really really available, or Jack Grealish, or the likes of Felipe Coutinho are available. So there are so many players. There's so many players that are available. Very very many players. Arsenal could go for in terms of a number 10. Arsenal believes in the old players and have failed to find out the first lineups. This is Moses. And then Bab says Arsenal have not developed over the years. Instead, after the end of the Wenger era, Arsenal is faced with the worst challenges. And I think these are challenges that we have created over the years. These are not challenges that are falling onto us, because we are not affected with injuries. It is challenges, it is problems Arsenal has created over the years. And the only way we can get rid of these, challenges is by becoming a little bit ruthless. King says, I believe Arsenal will sign a free transfer. Look, honestly, if Arsenal signed anyone for a free at the moment, at this point in time, nobody will say what's happening. I mean, that is the nature of Arsenal, isn't it? No confirmed deal has been done at the moment. Nothing yet. Nothing. Hi Cossy, welcome back. We missed you. God is forever mighty. Thank you so much, Dominic. I missed you too, by the way. Hi, I'm Suleiman from Nigeria. Did Arsenal want Ndidi? Look, I mean, the interest has been there. Not this summer. I think the interest has been there for a couple of seasons ago. I think around 2 seasons ago, we were interested in Wilfred Ndidi, and I think he's a decent player. But in this summer, I think no, we are not really interested in Ndidi, as far as I know. We need to come back to our foot as Arsenal. We must be back in the Champions League. That will take time. Honestly, we're not going to play in Champions League this season. We're not going to play in Europa League this season. But it's very hard for me to say that Arsenal will go and challenge into and qualify for Champions League. It's really hard unless we have a remarkable summer. It's gonna be hard. I think Arsenal board is the problem. This is according to Yusuf. And Eric says, Cossy, Phillips from Leeds United is also a very, very good. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, the problem with Arsenal and our scouts is we're always gonna scout the wrong players, and I think it's the problem as why we have had many wrong signings at this club, the likes of Granit Xhaka. But Phillips is a very good player. I mean, there are so many players in that Leeds team, honestly, that I would take. Very, very, many players I would take from that Marcelo Bielsa team, honestly. If I'm honest. Hi, Cossy, what is the situation on Onana? Now, Andre Onana's ban expires in November. He has got his verdict from the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and his ban expires in November. Now it will depend if Arsenal is, because today I've seen reports that Leno is free to leave for £18 million. That means Arsenal will be looking at Andre Onana as the potential replacement. So at the moment, Arsenal know the price. I think it's gonna be around. It could be around £4 or £5 million. All we need to do is pay that money and then wait for Andre Onana's ban to expire, and then he can start playing for Arsenal. Of course, even if you sign him at the moment, he can't be your first choice goalkeeper. He can't be he can't be your goalkeeper. If you signed him at the moment and the season starts in August, so you have August, September, October, and November, you would have 4 months of him not playing for Arsenal, and then he would start playing for Arsenal probably in December. But at the moment, I think Arsenal is still weighing up to see what happens. What happens, but almost everything is everything is on a silver plate. The personal teams terms are agreed. You have because I did report about that. You have the price being set around 4 to 5 or 6 million euros. It's never going to be expensive. He has a ban, and his contract is running down. So Ajax is just looking for some little money in him. I don't see any problem with that deal. I don't see any problem with that deal. The moment Arsenal will want that deal, they'll make it. We as Arsenal fans, we have to know that Arsenal needs a unity among players and creative team. And creative team. Thanks. Thank you, Moses. Talk about Kolasinac. Is he back? Is he back? Mkhitaryan and Niles. This is there. Look, Kolasinac is back. Schalke are not going to sign him, so we shall eventually have to sell him to another club. Of course, Schalke were never going to buy him. After their relegation, I doubt they would, really invest in in any players like Kolasinac. But I think he will leave Arsenal this summer. He's one of the players that I'm very sure are going to leave. I don't know where he's going to go, but he's back with the club. So at the moment, he's back. Maitland Niles is also back. He had gone to West Brom just for a long spell. So he's back as well. Mkhitaryan is a Roma player. He has signed a new contract. I think Jose Mourinho wants teams to stay at the club, so there are high chances they're gonna work together at Roma with Jose Mourinho. I think Martinez played a big role in Martinez played a big role in the Buendia transfer. They share the same agent. Yeah, and of course, many people are saying that that deal was actually facilitated by the agent. So I mean, you can't say no. You really can't say no. Villa have worked with the agent to sign Emi Martinez from Arsenal, so probably the agent has actually worked with them as well. This thing must be having some noise, and I didn't realize it from the start. Sorry for that. Okay. My name is Kamara. I want to know about the in and out of Arsenal. At the moment, the most likely players to leave Arsenal is Granit Xhaka. Of course, their transfer their transfer talk stalls between in there, but I think eventually will join Roma. Matteo Guendouzi to Marseille is another one that is more likely to happen. Of course, the likes of Eddie Nketiah have also been linked with moves away, and the likes of Lucas Torreira. But at the moment, nobody has officially left the club. No jersey has been lifted in terms of ingoings and incomings and outgoings. But in terms of outgoings, I think all we have to be sure is we are priorities. That's it. We are priorities. And on top of on top of those lists, Aston will sign some players. But at the moment, apart from the Yves Bissouma deal, I could look at that as the most realistic deal at the moment. Maybe the Bissouma, but in terms of the right back, I don't see someone who's very close. We don't have any close deals, and we do not have any done deals in respect to Arsenal at the moment. We are talking about a lot, Cossy, but doing less. It's unfortunate for the entire fans, honestly. And I do understand. Because if Arsenal doesn't have money, I prefer Guendouzi to replace Ceballos, because he's a player who used to serve Aubameyang to finish. I mean, even if we do have the money, I would love Guendouzi to stay. Honestly, yeah, I would love Matteo Guendouzi to stay. I have my sanitizer around here, so make sure you have a sanitizer. Okay, make sure you have sanitizer. And make sure you have a mask if you're around people. But I would love Matteo Genduzi to stay. Honestly, I would love him to stay. I would love to see a player like Matteo Genduzi in that midfield, at least as a squad player. I hate these people dealing with our transfers. Honestly, you're gonna have to hit the whole Arsenal team. Because the way they do their transfers is so boring. European League will Arsenal play European League. We are not playing in any European League. We are not playing in any European League. Not any. Not Champions League. Not the Super League. Not the Europa League. No, nothing. Okay. And this business to make money for that man, Stan Kroenke, we have to sign. Or this is Ramsey. Moses says Arsenal do have the money, but they lack marketing managers that can go out to look for players. These people are just very, very lazy. Very lazy. Cossy, great to see you back. Hope you're well now. How are you doing, Glenn? How are you doing, my brother? I'm a little bit better. Yeah, I'm a little bit better. Thank you so much, Glenn. I'm a little bit better. Emma says, Man Cossy, what's up with Korea? Saka and Onana. Look, I've heard of the Korea bid. I hope you've heard of it. I've heard of I've heard of the Korea bid. But look, with transfers, you just need to keep. We just need to keep track. That's it. We just need to keep track. It's very hard to say ABC is going to sign. It's very hard, but I really do like the fact that Arsenal is linked with players. Eventually, we will sign some players. Peter, you're saying that Arsenal is fond of bidding, of blindfolding fans, with saying they are going to sign players, but end up losing everything. They're like that, and I cannot actually disagree with you. Because your channel is growing every day. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Is that easy? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate. Is it true Sterling is joining Arsenal? Look, I don't know. I don't know how baseless this is, but we've been linked with two players from Manchester City who have been pronounced available, and that is Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez. I think the only truth in them is that the manager has worked with them at Manchester City. He understands them, and we signed them. They would be his men. So I think there is a lot of truth in Mikel Arteta wanting Sterling. There's a lot of truth in Mikel Arteta wanting Riyad Mahrez. Are we going to sign them? That's a very, very, very hard one, because if you're signing a player from Manchester City, you're looking at a lot. You're looking at a lot, especially a player like Sterling, who I think is a key player for them. Many people want to overlook him, overlook Sterling and look at Kevin De Bruyne and other players, but Sterling is a key player for City, and that's it. That's it. Evan says, thanks for the broadcast. Thank you so much, my brother. Allow me go take a rest at the moment. And of course, I'll come back with more videos and more transfer news. Of course, I'll be coming live more regularly. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Like when I speak too much, I have problems with breathing, so I need to get used to the live streams and everything. But I promise we shall have at least one or two live streams on a daily basis. Try to catch up with our transfer situation. May Arsene Wenger maybe Hassan Mena is behind a transfer. That's why they did. Look, I mean, let me say this honestly. Wenger was never a problem. He was never a problem. He was never the problem. And we've got to accept it now that we made a mistake, and we should say, we are sorry, Arsene. We made a mistake. You were never our problem. Arsene Wenger was never our problem. And starting with next season, you will see. I mean, you will see the same traits that Arsene Wenger suffered. They are the same traits that Mikel Arteta will suffer after being not bagged. They're gonna leave him. They're gonna hang him out to dry. That is what the Cronkies do. But Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, check out One Expert. They bring you the best of the Euros, and let me try to go and watch some games in the Euros, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll be back with an upload and speak to you tomorrow. Always.